Wanting you would be my greatest sin. But I
So he just every time he comes here, he has a barrage of books, all kinds of documents. He probably needs a container truck to take all of those books up here. And we are live on GVD TV channel 115, so you could look us up right here on TV, right at your living rooms. Minister, special good evening to you, sir.
Special good evening, Champagne, and good evening to all listeners tonight. It's a pleasure to be back here at Sky FM. And I am happy that GVD TV is back with us.
Yes, they are.
We really missed them last week, and a lot of people were calling me and asking, and I got a lot of messages as to why we were not on television last week. But as we know, there was a little mix-up of events and dates and times. But nevertheless, I'm happy to be here. Time is going by quickly, Champagne. Already the 11th.
Yeah, just got started.
January 2021.
Yes, sir.
And I want to extend very special greetings to all residents of Castries Southeast. It's a pleasure. I appreciate all the messages, all the comments, everybody who's reaching out and being able to say and to encourage me to continue to speak about the development of Castries Southeast, the governance of St. Lucia, and what is happening in general in terms of the vision of the government and where we are going, and to go back historically and remind people of some of the things that have transpired. To listeners around St. Lucia on the internet and wherever you are in the world, I know I have a few friends in Boston and other places who are following the program on a regular basis, and they do message me now and then letting me know that they are following what is happening inside Castries Southeast.
That's right.
And so to all my cabinet colleagues, we had our first cabinet meeting today for the year. We took a break just for the Christmas season, and cabinet has recommenced with the business of the country.
That's right.
And I'm coming straight from cabinet to the program tonight.
Yes.
So it's nice to be here. I want to extend special sympathy greetings to a few families. And the number one family I want to highlight is the William family, or the family of Angela William of Old Bailey. And she passed away one day after her birthday at the age of 101.
Wow, 101.
Yes, I
Wow.
actually had the opportunity of visiting and spending some time with the family when she celebrated her 100th birthday. And for, I want to say, special good night to Old Bele, special good night to Badney and Badi Shosi. In fact, there's Mr. Connie. I think Mr. Connie is now either 102 or 103 within the same area.
Wow.
I said there must have been something very special
Yeah,
in that
about
area,
that area,
for
yes.
persons to have lived
Yeah.
up to that age. And Mr. Connie is still going very strong
Wow.
in that area. Also, in my community, Champagne, we have two deaths in the community of Forest here. One is Mr. Gregor, and Mr. Gregor I knew as a child growing up in the time of my father.
Yeah.
I think he's around 18, he was around 89 or thereabout, and he passed. And there's also a young man from the community, Sherwin, who passed away. I want to extend special sympathies to all of those families and friends. These are difficult times,
Oh, yeah.
Champagne, and even to other persons that I may not have called their names, but you know, who have lost a loved one, somebody who is near and dear to them. And no matter how many people die, we never get accustomed to death,
Oh, no,
because
no.
it is something that is always very painful when it comes about. So
Yep.
I want to extend and to other persons, because I know there are a couple other deaths in the community that we will highlight maybe on a future program, because what I try to do is to get as many of the names and the people as possible so that we can always highlight. But because our office is not fully operational yet, then all the information is not necessarily forthcoming
Right.
at this point in time. So, but to those that I am aware of, I extend those special sympathy greetings to you, letting you know that you remain in our prayers and we are thinking about you. I want to highlight the projects that are ongoing. I think today they were doing the casting of the foundation for the market in Bexon.
Wow.
From the information that I received, we have started mapping out the roads in the housing development in the Bel Air community. That's
Wow.
New Bel Air. Also, they were casting the roads in the Crownlands area over the weekend. So quite a bit
A
happening
lot of stuff happening.
in the
Yeah.
constituency, in the community of Sandy Fe, under the Proud project. That's a land rationalization project that started quite a few years ago. In fact, the Proud project was established 20 years ago when the Labour Party was in office.
Yeah.
And projects are still ongoing under these programs. And we've done some in the Larry Shoes area in Viewfort. There are 2 or 3 that is starting in the Bexon and Sandy Fe area in the land regularization
Yeah.
project on the Proud. One of the commitments I made was that the people of Castries Southeast, more people will own land this time around than any other period of time in the history of governance
Yeah.
in this country. And we have seen that in Forest here, we had 63 lots that have been sold. So you now have 63 new landowners.
Yeah, I drove up there and the homes are being built
Yes,
really
and
rapidly.
the houses are being built. People are moving into this development, and it's really a nice development, excellent view of the area. Then I'm looking at, we secured the land down in Odsa, and we have 14 acres of land there. The subdivision plan has been approved. And just as we are doing in Bel Air, we would commence this one in Odsa.
Also would be another housing project.
Well, most of the land is occupied already, so
Oh,
it
okay.
wouldn't be a housing project.
Oh, it's-
But these people, some of them told me it's more than 40 years they've been renting this land in
Wow.
that area.
And who they rented from? Was it the privately owned or government?
Yes, it was privately owned.
Okay.
It was part of the Dovey development
okay.
down there,
Okay.
land. And then, there's been a lot of back and forth. We tried to negotiate the purchase of the land, but a lot of the family who was in charge was overseas, and a lot of back and forth. So given that these people have occupied these lands for so long, it was easier for government to do the acquisition, do the subdivision, and make the land available to the persons, and then the government will pay directly to the owner of the property. At the back of the Bexon School, there's also 15 acres that we now have a subdivision plan for, and that would be used to make the land available. And at the back of the Care School in Odsa also, the land is already occupied, but the people do not have title, and that land was owned by Invest St. Lucia. These lands are going to be subdivided. I have had discussions with the chairman of Invest St. Lucia, and to give the people who have been occupying these lands for many years, they have wall houses on the land and everything. So there's nothing else you can do than make the land accessible so that the people can have title.
We need to ring the bell on that. This is achievement to the highest level. We have to ring the bell on that.
Because what I am aiming for is to empower people to be able to do things for themselves. You see, many people are coming to me in the constituency, and everybody wants a little job, they want a contract, and I am trying to push in the direction of them being entrepreneurs themselves, being owners. We are working with a young lady in the community of Mac who started a project or a business where she's exporting, and she's buying from a lot of the farmers. Through the small business department and Export St. Lucia, they have been assisting her, and through the CDP program, we are working with her to help build a packing house, because she needs that. The number of farmers that she's purchasing from, and then exporting these products by container loads to different markets around the world. So,
and I would take it that she has a few members of staff.
Yes,
with that business.
So when you look at a young person coming out of school and starting a business like that for themselves, that is commendable.
Oh yes, definitely.
These are not people who would come to government and say, give me this and give me that, but they would find creative ways to do things for themselves. We are working with a couple of people who have started their own little block plant in the area to produce blocks, and to work with them so that they can create their own employment. When the market is completed in Bexon, we expect to have 10 entrepreneurs who would own their own businesses within that market in Bexon. And then I'm still working to get the two barbers, to get the barber shop set up in the community of Wavin Poisson. We have identified the container. We are just working on the location to place it there.
So you're saying the market is completely sold out already? Is that what you're saying? Based on
the number, we have much more applications than we have spaces available for people who want to start their own small businesses. And for me, that is what representation is about. Representation is not just about building roads, because some people think that all this government is about is building roads. And that's why I applaud the Minister of Commerce. You see what Minister Bradley Felix has done for the small business sector in St. Lucia. No other Minister of Commerce previously have ever done what Minister Bradley has done as Minister of Commerce, because he has set a different agenda altogether, where everybody who's going to be starting their small business can apply for some form of concession. I mean, when you put that besides what the Minister of Agriculture has done, I mean, when the Labour Party came into office between 2001 and between 1997 and 2006, you almost, during that period of time, you almost did not see FAR vehicles on the road.
That is a fact.
Farmers' vehicles had literally disappeared.
That is a fact.
To a great extent. It was when Minister Ezekiel came back into office in 2006, when we won the elections with Sir John, we reintroduced the concession for the farmers and started boosting the industry. And in those days, you would only get the pickups as FAR vehicles because it was only bananas. Now you have the cut flour, you have the egg producers, you have all of these. So we have now allowed 4-door vehicles to be FAR vehicles because sometimes this same farmer has to transport people to his farm, and it is not safe to have people traveling in the back or the box of the tray of the vehicle. So now the farmer can use that same vehicle to transport his workers and transport his supplies.
That's right.
That is the forward thinking of this government that I am a part of. And that is why I'm proud to be a part of a government that is really focused on the development of all industries, because government cannot create employment for everybody.
No.
But if people have an opportunity to create employment for themselves, and all the government has to do is give them a little support, then that is where the focus needs to be.
Yeah. Now let me go into something, because most of the times you hear our people would say, oh, election gavini, pusa ukawe buy carpet la. I, as a witness, I could speak out here tonight and say the United Workers' Party government immediately after the 2016 elections started work. And I know you could attest to that.
Well, I can tell you, even I have forgotten some of the projects that I did in my first year. And this business of because election. When the thing about governance is that it takes time when you come into government to begin to plan and to execute. And the process of planning takes quite a bit of time. So if I take what is happening and projects, and I know that by next week we're supposed to be highlighting on Inside Castries Southeast. Hopefully by next week, Monday, we should be able to start highlighting the project.
I wanted to make it a surprise, but you brought it up.
So that they can visually see what we have. When I go to some of the places and I see the things I have done sometimes I have even forgotten that I did all of these projects in the constituency. And I'm not talking about projects from 2006, you know. I'm just talking about projects between 2016 and
up until now,
And so I have always believed in people empowerment. During last week, we paid CXCs for a number of students who their parents could not afford and not afford to meet all of the payments. And I applaud the parents, because there were instances when they said, look here, I have to pay 500, I only have 300. Can you assist? Now, these are people who could have come and said, I have no money, can you help me pay the CX? But they were genuine and honest in coming forward and saying, look here, I have that amount, what assistance? And I know I'm not the only one doing that. I know even opposition MPs do that at times also. So it is not something that I am taking credit for because we have done it. I was speaking to one of my colleagues and he told me, I take pleasure in doing that because I know I am giving a young person a chance to succeed, a chance to become somebody who can achieve their dreams and their goals in life. So, you know, being able to do these things. So while we are doing the brick and mortar projects, we are also doing things that will help people. When you look at the number of bursaries, even in the midst of where we are there, and what is happening, you would see a number of bursaries for students who cannot meet their commitments for school. And the parents, they assess the situation and they would proceed. I know, and I leave that to the Ministry of Education to deal with, but I know quite a few of the e-books have arrived in St. Lucia.
Oh, wow.
And have been cleared, and my ministry has been involved directly in that. But later during this week, we expect some formal presentation to be made of e-books that would become available for distribution within the school, within the secondary schools on the island. I have to applaud the Ministry of Education for the opening of school today.
We gave the bell on that all day today, all day.
Even in the midst of, and we've said it, the Prime Minister has said it time and time again, we need to coexist with COVID. We cannot run away from the fact that COVID is going to be around for a while. And so it is what we need to do. And I heard some people criticizing.
Yeah.
You know, what is amazing is these same people who are in a march, who are protesting, and you're asking what is it that they were protesting against, would today turn around and criticize the education of our children?
Yeah.
I mean, I know we have to be careful, but these same people are very careless. You see them, they walk on the streets, they don't have their mask. They go at the bars, they go all kinds of places. They do not follow the basic protocols, and they are the ones putting their children and their family and other persons at risk. But they would criticize the government for attempting to get the children back into school. My niece teaches in the US. She's in the school system. You know how strict they are up there? If you are a student, your camera must be on. If you're not in class, you must be properly dressed for class and everything. And the teachers have to report to the school, even in instances when the students are not there.
Right.
But yet still we find people in St. Lucia, they are trying their best to undermine everything that is good that is being done by the government. There's no magic wand that you can wave to deal or solve the problems of COVID. The reality is we have a challenge before us. But I believe that the entire team, we have risen well to the occasion, and we have been able to address it adequately. And so I applaud the Minister of Education, the Ministry of Education, the principals and the teachers and parents who have done what was necessary so that the children could be in school today.
Yeah, definitely.
And even if at some point in time we may have to pull back on this, but whatever they can gain for now, we have to make the best of the time that we have during the time that they can be in class. And so I really applaud the Minister of Education for moving in the direction of getting the schools. The Minister of Tourism, I mean, we've come under a lot of criticism, but I can tell you what the minister has done with the command center, along with the Minister of Health, and how they have dealt with the whole situation. People can criticize us as much as they want. And it's easy when you stand as a spectator, as what the opposition is. They are no more than spectators, because even when you've invited them to participate, they've stayed away from participation. You remember the leader of the opposition said he's sending the best equipped person, and the best equipped person he could have sent was a quantity surveyor to represent him at the level of dealing with the COVID situation and the protocols and the matters that needed to be addressed. So I'm just saying that no matter how we look at it, these are not easy times. These are difficult times. We have started the budget process. The first budget subcommittee meeting was held last week. And I can tell you, while we are nowhere close to where we wanted to be because of COVID, St. Lucia is not the worst performing country by any means.
That's for sure.
In terms of the management of the economy. And I have to applaud the Prime Minister, because the PM has had to make a lot of very tough decisions. And that is where, when you talk about a baptism of fire, from the time the Prime Minister came into office, we inherited a difficult economic situation. We inherited an economic situation where the previous government could not borrow.
That is true.
Unemployment was through the roof. I mean, everything was going wrong. And I have asked for the numbers, and maybe if not, by time we get to budget debate, if there's a debate before the Prime Minister decides to call the next election, I don't know, that is within his purview to make that decision. But whatever the outcome is, I will present numbers to show, because I believe that the economy has performed almost, and not my words, almost as well with COVID as it did on the Labour Party without COVID.
Wow.
And the numbers will speak for itself. But I will allow, when these numbers become available, because I'm not the one generating the numbers. The numbers would be generated by the departments that have the responsibility. So as far as these things are concerned, I don't want people in St. Lucia to lose focus. People can promise you, but all you have to do is go back and look at their track record. How many times have they promised, and how many times have they delivered? Now, my wife said something to me earlier this week. We were having a conversation. No, she was saying something, and she said, if you fool me once, shame on me.
Right. No.
I think that's
Is that how it goes? If you fool me once, I think I know the way this goes. Shame on me, on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Shame on me.
Yes. Yes.
And I believe that. How many times does the Labour Party have to fool the people of St. Lucia so that we know that they cannot? We can challenge any area. Tell me one thing the Labour Party promised and they were able to deliver. So you take a situation like when they promised better days. When they promised better days, these were the worst days St. Lucia had experienced. Then they came back and they promised, they asked them,
Jobs.
what is the priority of the government? The three top priorities. They said priority number 1, jobs. Priority number 2, jobs. Priority number 3, jobs.
And we had the worst unemployment
And
figures.
unemployment went to the highest numbers. Overall unemployment about 25%, and youth employment bordering on 44%. I mean, how bad, how much worse can it get than that? And you remember one time they were elected on the mandate of transparency and accountability. Under the program of transparency and accountability is when we had Rochamel, Grindberg, all of these, Helene. You remember the Helene affair?
The Helene saga.
Okay. All of this. And I promised, Champagne, last week, on the issue of the attack on friends, family, and foreigners. I told you why the Labour Party, there are certain words, once they touch it, they destroy it. And I am very concerned about friends, family, and foreigners. Because if they are able to destroy these as much as they are able to destroy everything that they touch, then we are in trouble. Now, I will highlight some things to you, champagne on. It's the Sir Fenton Ramsahoy Report, Commission of Inquiry, May 6, 2009. In the matters of an inquiry under the Commission of Inquiry Act of St. Lucia, Government of St. Lucia. And remember I said about transparency and accountability. Now, a loan, the government went for a loan. A disguised loan, as the report says, of the 41 million US dollars.
Now, a disguised loan, for some of our people that don't understand, what does that mean?
Okay.
Something you don't see.
Well, what the people thought what the parliament thought they were doing was not exactly what they were doing.
Okay.
So there were hidden things in it.
Yeah.
But this loan was negotiated at a fixed rate of 7.75%, which was a fairly high interest rate. Now, I want to touch on the issue of Frenwell. Now, I will read for you the motion, and I want the people of St. Lucia and everywhere to listen to what I'm saying. So when the Labour Party comes to you, including Philip J. Pierre, who was part of the government at the time, who presents himself as the new hero for Labour, I want him to tell me what was his role in this, and did he vote for it or did he vote against it? Now, the resolution says, be it resolved that Parliament hereby authorizes the Minister of Finance to enter into a fixed rate bond facility of 41 million US with the RBTT Merchant Bank Limited for the purposes of financing government capital works program and for financing government obligations in respect of the former Hyatt. Now that is what the resolution read. And that was passed in the House of Assembly on the 17th day of December 2002. And the then Speaker was Matthew Roberts, Speaker of the House of Assembly, passed in the Senate this 20th day of December 2002, and the late Hilford de Turville was the President of the Senate. The motion presented to Parliament invoked as its authority the provisions of Section 39 of the Finance Administration Act 1A, of which provides loans and authority to sign thereof. And I'm establishing why it was disguised. The minister may by resolution of Parliament borrow from any bank or other financial institution for any of the following purposes: the capital or recurrent expenditure of government. The reason for invoking Section 39(1) was because a part of the 41 million was intended to meet expenditure on capital works which the government of St. Lucia had undertaken. But it was also intended that the other part should be used to refinance government obligations in respect of the former Hyatt Hotel. Now, what is this? Was government a shareholder in the hotel? Was government building a hotel? But we are hearing that government is going to Parliament to borrow money to pay for its obligations in respect of the former Hyatt Hotel. Now, here's that.
But here's something there. The obligation, that's a strong word there with that thing.
Yes. So here's what the Sir Ramsahoy report found out. The truth was that the obligations which the government of St. Lucia intended to meet were the loan monies which Friendwell Limited had borrowed and the interest which the government was obliged to pay to the Royal Merchant Bank under the deed of guarantee and indemnity and the put option agreements. It was presumed that the members of the legislature, that is the members of parliament, knew that the loan monies were used to support Pigeon Island Hotel Limited. And the report says, we conclude that the nature of the proceedings by virtue of which the resolution was passed were irregular, but since the members of parliament must have known that the government was borrowing money to satisfy obligations it undertook in connection with the resort, and payment, although done through an irregular procedure, was not unlawful. So, not everything that is not lawful or that is not unlawful is right. So, you may not have broken a law per se, but that does not make what you do right. And that is the essence that I am gathering from what I am reading there. So,
but Mr. Minister, if you don't mind me, it sounds like a bailout on the part of the government to this company. Is that a fair statement?
So
it sounds like the same
here's
Helen bailout as well.
It says the truth was that the obligation. So the government says that it is taking a loan to pay for its obligations to Hyatt Hotel.
Right.
But the report says the truth was that the obligations which the government of St. Lucia intended to meet were the obligations of a loan which Friendwell Limited had borrowed and the interest which the government was obliged to pay to the Royal Merchant Bank under the deed of guarantee and indemnity and the put option agreement. So in other words, the government comes to parliament, says that we want to borrow some money, and part of the money is to pay our obligations to Hyatt Hotel.
But what are those obligations?
When they got the money, what they did was they paid money for Friendwell. Now the question is, who is Friendwell? So, Champagne, I want you and I want Norbert on
keeping it real.
Keeping it real, to ask the Labour Party this question for me. To ask Philip J. Pierre, as leader of the opposition today, if at the time when Kenny did his things, Pierre could not speak because he was not the leader and maybe he was afraid of speaking. Now you're the boss, speak. Now you're the leader. Come out and tell the people who was Friendwell and why did you have to pay Friendwell bill?
That is the thing. That's the bill.
Why Friendwell went and took a loan and why you had to take the taxpayers' money in St. Lucia and to pay Friendwell's bill. Now, why am I going back to this, Champagne? These are the same people presenting themselves to represent the people of St. Lucia, and they have never answered these questions. So you putting them to watch your business for you again? But these are the people who call me Volle all the time. Yet still they cannot present one piece of paper to show where anybody in the UWP stole any money.
No, but Mr. Minister, this is serious. What you just read there. We need to find out who Friendwell is. Do you know who Friendwell is?
Yes, I know who Friendwell is, but I will bring the documents. I don't know if that company is still registered in the registry of companies.
Okay.
But Friendwell was a company, and if you read the details, it would be amazed. It's like there was a master plan and it worked backward. So the exact amount of money that Friendwell borrowed was the exact amount of money that the parliament went to borrow to pay for Friendwell.
Wow.
And now I don't want to bother people with a lot of reading, but I want them to understand. So here's what the report concludes. We conclude that the money paid was lost and that the government and people of St. Lucia received nothing in return for the money so paid to the Royal Merchant Bank, even though it was intended by the terms of the development and the concession agreement of December 17, 1997, that if the government was called upon to pay, it would receive corresponding equity in the hotel. In other words, when they made the agreement with Hyatt or Rochamel was the construction company.
Yeah.
The Hyatt was
yeah.
the compound.
The hotel.
When they made that agreement, Champagne, the agreement was that if the government was called upon to pay any monies, that the government would get shares or equity. They would get some value for the money that they have paid. But you see, the government did not pay for Hyatt. The government paid for Friendwell. So the report is clear. And that is Kenny Anthony and Philip J. Pierre. These are the men that we put in charge of our business in St. Lucia. And I can say we, because I supported them in 1997. So we put them in charge of our business, and that is what they did. So the report we conclude that the money paid was lost and that the government and people of St. Lucia received nothing in return.
And we're talking about 40 million?
12 million US dollars, which is over 30 million
EC,
EC. And by the time you add the interest and fees to that, I will come to that. I want the people of St. Lucia. So when these men will pass around and try to brand people and say people have done, I want them to show me where $1 has been spent under my watch that has not been properly accounted for. $1. I challenged them. Last week, Champagne, I was here with the report and I showed you. I still have it here for the benefit of those who may doubt. It says Office of the Director of Audit St. Lucia, Special Audit Report of the Ministry of Communications, Works, Transport and Public Utilities, 2007. When we came in, the audit department, roads that should cost less than 100 million, cost more than 200 million. Under the watch of the Labour Party. What explanations have they given us for that? Now I am coming to show you what they did with this. So, here's what the report concludes. After the resolution was passed and the government of St. Lucia assumed thereby the authority to borrow 41 million from the Royal Merchant Bank, it did so. The Royal Merchant Bank did not, however, pay the 41 million to the government. You heard this? So you went to borrow, you came to the parliament. You said to the parliament, I am going to borrow $41 million US and I want a guarantee. So the parliament approves it. But even after the resolution was passed, the Royal Merchant Bank did not, however, pay the 41 million to the government. The Royal Merchant Bank purported to deal with the sum of 41 million which it was lending to the government of St. Lucia in the following way. So who was in charge? You come to the parliament makes a decision, passes a resolution, but here's what was done. Here's how the money that was passed. And when the Labour Party want to come and talk about, so you hear them talking about they attacking us on the withholding tax for sandals, and they tell you this.
23 million,
I brought and I showed in the parliament where they had even waived PAYE. People who had pay as you earn taxes to the government, even that was waived for smugglers. But you see, I don't deal with dishonesty. You see, when you have these kind of people who will say one thing on one side of their mouth when it's convenient. So we go to Parliament, or the government of the Labour Party goes to Parliament, passes a resolution to borrow $41 million from the Royal Merchant Bank. But the report says the Royal Merchant Bank purported to deal with the sum of 41 million which it was lending to the government of St. Lucia in the following way. So yo ka prêter nous l'argent, nous qui pour payer l'on navire, mais c'est yo qui ka décider qui manière yo ka distribute l'argent. So tan sa yo fait. It deducted US 17,092,350 for the debt of Friendwell Limited, comprising of loan plus interest. So now, I'm asking a question, because when I'm in Parliament, I never have sufficient time to be able, and you don't have the back and forth.
Right.
And that is why on several occasions, I have challenged the Labour Party, Dr. Kenny Anthony, and Philip J. Pierre, and any other person who served during that time to a debate. But they will not take me on a debate.
No, you've been asking
because
for years.
These are the questions that I want to put to them. They can ask me any question about me in government. And I want to be able to ask them any question about them in government. So you come to the Parliament, you take a loan, you say is to pay whatever debt. But here's what happened. So the bank itself now could the bank decide that on its own? Or was there a sidebar arrangement to allow the bank to do so? So it deducted 17,092,350 for the debt of Friendwell Limited, comprising of loan plus interest. It deducted US $584,000 for fees. I don't know what these fees are, if it's for the loan fees. It paid a balance of $23,323,000 US to the government of St. Lucia. So nous avons un loan, gouvernement Labour prend un loan pour 41 millions de dollars. Mais banque là on y ba yo 23 millions de dollars et banque là tient l'autre 17 millions de dollars pour dette un monde dat gouvernement pas teni pièce responsabilité pour payer.
That sounds
so c'est non fou qui te chat gouvernement ta ça.
So is that was a level of lack of trust on the part of the bank? Because if the bank would not allow the government to distribute their money in their own way. But that's my point. How would the bank be able to distribute that money that the government is borrowing? They're the ones taking care of the way the money is distributed.
Bandousa, laissez nom ça vini menti bay moun. Ek di yo comme story, ek vle kouye lot moun volé. Mwen vle yo di mwen asou ki grounds. Ek mwen amade question à parlement plusieurs fois. Rick Wayne has asked this question on several occasions. Why did you have to pay? What was our deal with Friendwell that the government of St. Lucia had to take a loan to pay for Friendwell? Est Friendwell c'est gouvernement? Est Friendwell c'est un compagnie qui était part of gouvernement? Now, it can take 100 years. You still need to ask the Labour Party these questions. Now, tan sa ki fet. the government did not, you heard that? The government did not dispute that Frenwell Limited borrowed $12,750,000 from the Royal Merchant Bank to purchase cumulative preference shares at Pigeon Island Hotel Limited, but the difference between the sum and the $17,092,350 which the Royal Merchant Bank took represented interest in the sum of $4,342,350 which the government considered to be excessive. So tan sa wapo akadi. Gouvernement pa ma de pièce question about, il pas doubt that Frenwell te prêté 12 millions, en haut $12 millions américains from bank RBTT. So même banque là, gouvernement a prêté l'argent from là. C'est même banque là that Frenwell te prêté l'argent from. Ou quoi ça accident?
Yeah, I see the pattern.
Ou quoi ça accident qui fait là? Ou quoi, is that a coincidence?
No, it's not.
Comme Bougla te dit, approximately, maybe approximately, pati la pièce. Makwelan pièce approximately en ça. Makwelan pièce coincident en dit dans ça. Because Frenwell borrowed $12,750,000 US dollars from the Royal Merchant Bank. So, pas moi qui dit, rapport qui dit, il dit Dr. Kenny Anthony, the Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, traveled to Trinidad and Tobago to intercede with the Royal Merchant Bank over this interest payment. So, il pa imade yo pour qui ça yo prend $12 millions pour payer loan Frenwell ou ça. Il a imade yo pour qui raison zot prend $4 millions pour l'enterrer. Est-ce gouvernement c'est Frenwell? Est-ce gouvernement qui te prend loan by Frenwell? That c'est gouvernement qui a prend l'argent
Pour bail out Frenwell.
pour payer dette, pas juste pour bail out, pour payer dette là. So, qui moun qui te ni shares en Frenwell?
Ah, that's the question.
Qui moun qui te ni side business ek Frenwell? Mais c'est moi yo vle ve ek yo vle do moi ni business ek Fresh Start. Moi ni business this, moi ni business that. Moi vle répondre ces questions ça. C'est pour ça que still challenge yo pour un debate.
Yeah.
Et que yo sa vin ici si yo vle. Yo sa vin Sky FM.
No, oui, nous allons accepter yo là.
Ek GVD TV.
Ah, ouais.
Nous kay mande yo ces questions. Because yo supposé répondre Jean Saint-Lucie. We they owe the people of St. Lucia an explanation.
Yes, sir.
And Philip J. Pierre, if he wants to redeem himself, he needs to come and tell the people of St. Lucia what happened under their watch. So here's what it says: the bank agreed to reduce the interest rate by 2.5 million, and this sum was later refunded or otherwise dealt with for the credit to the government of St. Lucia. Taking into account the reduction in the interest of 2.5 million, the total sum which the government lost, tan sa di, pa mwen ki di, wapo ki di. So se, i di sa gouvernement ped, now sou ped na bay, sa sa min. Sa ki i wive la, sa pate supposé wive. Si sa det ou dwe, e koupe det la, est-ce kay dou ped l'argent sa?
Ou paye.
Si mwen do ou champin, ek mwen do yon $100, ek mwen porte $100 ba, ek mwen ba ou $100. Ese ped mwen ped $100.
Non, pas perdre, mais ou paye de tout. Tu crois, moi, ouais.
Bon si ma do, ek ou kwene mwen, ek mwen da ba ou $100 akodi mwen te do. Es mwen paye ou, ebe es mwen ped l'argent sa.
Là, on perd.
Ok. So,
L'argent, on perd.
So, le rapport a dit, taking into account the reduction of the 2.5 million, the total sum which the government lost was 14,592,350. That is US, you know. That is where the 40 million that we paid on the Hyatt Hotel, ek nou pa ni yon block a hotel la. Together with the fees included the sum of 584,000, which was the fees that I mentioned, part of the last mentioned amount being attributed to the portion of the 41 million loan which went to settle the debt of Friendwell Limited. So, how can the Labour Party, how can Philip J. Pierre, Kenny Anthony, or any one of them who was in government at the time, what can they tell the people of St. Lucia about that? But you see, they believe that if they call others corrupt and crooked loud enough, that people will forget
what they did,
what they have done. But I will not forget what they have done. It says on page 17 of the report, the procedure which was followed subsequent to the development of the concession agreement of 17 December 1997 led to the loss by the government and people of St. Lucia of monies paid in respect to the debt of Friendwell. The government received no equity in Pigeon Island Hotel Limited, and under the documents presented to the commission, it was entitled to none. So, ou ka di moment gouvernement pour manager ça fait pays. Yo ay fa deal à la hotel. Et yo paye 40 millions dollars cette lisi. Et yo pa ni yon bloc en hotel. Et ko dia c'est nom ça vle vini ek di moun ki manye pour run gouvernement. And when I tell them, you cannot advise me what to do because you could not advise yourself. Hear that? It says government did not pay any debt. Government did not pay any debt in the sum of 12,750,000 plus interest for the Pigeon Island Hotel Limited, you know. That debt that was paid was not for the hotel. The money was paid for Friendwell Limited, and that is on page 18 of the report. As a result of the manner in which the transaction was done, the government had no recourse in equity against Pigeon Island Hotel because it did not as a generator, as a guarantor, pay Pigeon Island Hotel Limited. So si yo te pay asu debt hotel la, yo te kay hen share hotel la.
Right.
Mais yo pa pay debt la, yo ay pay debt Friendwell. So sa y pa wet la, that Friendwell même te ay point loan. Ek yo te gen shares an di dan hotel la. So c'était private, si sa private company. Ek ou gen shares. So mwen gen shares a Bank of St. Lucia. Si ho di kon deme bank la le bankrupt, mwen ped shares mwen pan vale, mwen ped kouman.
You bankrupt.
So ou kwen mwen sa y pran loan from government pou di ngay paye pou shares la mwen te pren. Si sa loan mwen te pren pou gen shares a di dan company. Ek company a fold up. So comment ça ministre gouvernement moi ça aller prendre loan as gouvernement ek payer dette là? It doesn't work like that. It has never worked like that. So
well, it did on their account.
No, so something went wrong somewhere. The government had no agreement with Friendwell Limited, whereby the cumulative preferences purchased by Friendwell from Pigeon Point Hotel Limited could be claimed by the government from Friendwell Limited. So, the most basic thing one would do in a situation like that is, okay, if I'm paying your debt for you, so you bought a vehicle, you cannot meet your obligations. If I am paying the debt for you, then you transfer the vehicle to me.
Yeah, the title have to go to you.
Not even that the government did. So they just went and they paid the debt. And then They made no arrangements for the shares of Frenwell to become the shares of the government, at least. So it says, now you will have the best part, Champagne.
Now, before you continue, Mr. Minister, now they continue to talk about the free Fs, friends, family, and foreigners. Was Frenwell a local company?
They will have to tell us
Okay.
who Frenwell was.
All right.
And we have to call on them, and we have to demand that they give us answers.
Okay.
Because you cannot be in government and do these kinds of things and get a... So it says the shares so purchased have remained with Frenwell Limited. So Frenwell went and took their loan, bought their shares in the hotel. The government went and took a loan, came to Parliament, paid the debt of Frenwell, and the shares still remain with Frenwell.
How does that work? My goodness.
So you just pay l'argent payé,
Like by Frenwell.
et just pay debt Frenwell. Frenwell c'est camarade comment? Camarade bien sûr pour dire Frenwell.
Pardon, non.
Frenwell.
Oui.
Camarade bien, là où elle.
Oui.
Camarade bien.
Camarade bien.
So,
Frenwell.
so you pay debt camarade bien.
Yeah. C'est ça.
Et you pas nan rien pour montrer pour
Ah,
ça.
yeah. Pays à
You
Panay.
know, it is amazing that the people of St. Lucia would accept this from a government and would pass that or as if this is
Yeah,
normal.
nothing, yeah.
And all the Labour Party bright boys who think that they have more brains than everybody else, I want them to give an explanation for that. So it says no shares were passed by Frenwell Limited to the government and people of St. Lucia. Now, here's what Astefan said. Astefan was
As the
Kenny
lawyer.
Anthony's lawyer. Kenny, I don't think, ever spoke himself. So here's what. It was suggested to the commission by Mr. Astefan, counsel for Dr. Kenny Anthony, that the shares when purchased by Frenwell Limited were charged to the Royal Merchant Bank as trustees for the government of St. Lucia. There is no document in the whole transaction that bears this out. So somebody just tell them, well, RBTT is holding the shares as security. Bela pa ni yon chop papier pour montrer ça. So Léa Stéphane dit ça, ça t'est vrai. I'm asking, was that true what Astefan said when it is showing that there's not a single piece of document? There was in writing a charge on the shares which Frenwell Limited purchased with the loan monies, but that charge was in favor of the Royal Merchant Bank as lender. The Royal Merchant Bank had the right to take action to enforce the charge on the shares, but it was not obligated to do so because the government of St. Lucia had paid the debt and freed the shares of the charge, leaving Frenwell Limited with unencumbered cumulative preference shares in Pigeon Island Hotel Limited. So the government took a loan. Dr. Anthony came to Parliament, took a loan, went and paid for Frenwell. Debt that Frenwell was owing to the bank. That was no obligation to the government of St. Lucia. Can you believe that a government can do that? Just take $41 million of the people's money and just pay it. And we were paying that loan. When we came into government, we were the ones paying the loan. But it went to Parliament. You must pay the loan.
Must.
Today we are building roads that everybody in St. Lucia is using. Everybody is seeing what is happening. But the Labour Party is telling you, oh, if they get into government, they will not, or they will, he said it, oh, they are not obligated to do it. So you are obligated to go and pay your friends debt. Frenwell.
Frenwell. Camarade bien.
Oui.
41 million.
And the patois has a unique way of saying things. Camarade bien. So, I want the people of St. Lucia to understand. Now, here's the argument. It was argued for Dr. Anthony, not by him, for him, by his lawyer, I guess. It was argued for Dr. Anthony that the shares were valueless because of the failure of Pigeon Point Company, but whether the shares were valueless or not, the government of St. Lucia received none. The money paid to settle the debt of Friendwell Limited was a loss which the people of St. Lucia bore without compensation.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
Right.
So, the lawyer representing Dr. Anthony is arguing that, okay, I paid the debt, but the shares, what I paid for had no value. So $41 million had no value.
My goodness.
So why didn't the government let them take Friendwell to court? Why didn't they let the bank go after Friendwell for Friendwell to pay its debt? Because the government, the report says it, not me. It's not like the Labour Party come in and tell you we are corrupt and we are crooked and we are this and we are that.
But according to the report, the bank could not go after Friendwell. Friendwell debt was already paid by the government.
Yes, but they could have gone after them before they paid the debt if they were not paying the debt.
Okay.
But before the bank could have gone after Friendwell, the Labour Party government came in and paid the debt of Friendwell.
You believe that?
So, and these are the people, you know, when you are being honest, and you see that level of mismanagement by a government, and people still consider, boy, that's the best we have. Well, if that's the best we have, we're in trouble.
So the sale of Hyatt into Sandals, the government still didn't get anything from there?
Nothing.
My goodness. With all that money that was
So we
paid?
paid $41 million with nothing to show for it. But you see, the reason why it happened that way, the report is clear. We were paying the debt of Friendwell that we had no obligations to pay. If we had any obligations, it was to Hyatt or to Pigeon Island Hotel. So if we had, because remember, Hyatt was the operating company. A company comes and they build a hotel, and then they can lease it out or give it to a franchise to run for them.
Right.
Okay, so that is easy to happen. But the question, if first of all you knew that the shares had no value, why did you go and pay it?
True.
Now, if you had gone to the bank and made an agreement with the bank that made it an obligation on you to pay, then you had to pay. I would agree in that case, you would have had to pay. But everything in the report says that we were not obligated to pay. So why did we pay?
That's the big question.
So that is why I told the people of St. Lucia, I will deal with a company named Friendwell. Now, in this report, it has the details of the road project, and it has the NCA. And I will come to the NCA. And I will come to people like Henry Charles that we've not heard anything about for a long time. I will come to the running of the STEP program under the Labour Party. I will come to the issue of who they gave to buy radios overseas for the beach rangers. That just toujours nous pour un radio avec nous pour un l'argent. And all of it is there in the report, you know. If by the time you go to the road and you see the breakdown of the expenditures, you would be baffled by the amount. That is why it has how much million was spent in toilet paper.
Yeah, that was the Southwest Highway.
Yes.
Yes.
All of it is in the same report that I have before me. So I wonder, people of St. Lucia, I mean, if I just touch on that briefly, you have compensation events, earthworks re-rating. That means they change the price. Prolongated costs, variation in price, extended insurance, materials handed, delay and disruption. So Heather, delay and disruption was $11 million. Prolongation cost was $18 million. What is the difference between prolongation and delay?
It seems to be the same thing to me.
If the project was supposed to finish in 2 years, and it takes 3 years, you'd say that the project is delayed. But you'd also say that the project prolonged.
Prolong into that time, yeah.
So they have 18 million for prolongation cost. And they have another, now maybe I don't understand the English language,
Maybe.
so if somebody understands English better than me or the laws on this. And then they have delay and disruption, another $11 million. That's
apart from the first time?
Yes. That is what that took the project to over 100 million. So it is important for the people of St. Lucia to understand.
And that is just one.
Wamundi upakamete shadvebe.
No, pasa.
Now, if you want to put the Labour Party into office, it's your choice. But you will continue to get what you have received in the past. Bad governance.
That's right.
You have a whole report. Now, I can show the report that we did on them. I want them to show the report they did on me.
Yes, right. Right.
C'est la mwen fò a Champagne. Mwen vle yo, mi, se yon rapport a sou yo. The government commissioned that and it came through parliament. It's a commission of inquiry. This report here is the office of the director of audit. And it can show you how bad they were as managers.
This right there is evidence. This is proof.
Exactly.
Let them show their proof.
This is his budget statement about when St. Jude would finish and what would happen. So I have my reports that show what they have done and how they have done it. I want them to show me the report that they have.
Bring your evidence.
They said they did a report on the Taiwanese funds. I want them to show me one line of that report on what happened in Castries Southeast. I want them to, because if you're going to be accusing people, and that is what the Labour Party does over the years, when they cannot find fault with your representation, they attack you personally. They attack your character. They attack your family. They go after things. I don't have time to attack people personally. I am giving you evidence for what I am saying. What I can tell them is anytime they're ready, let's take a drive through my constituency with me and I will show them what representation is.
Everything in the book said these are facts. You didn't write anything in there.
No, I did not write. You. I only read what was there.
It's now 9:15. We're going up to what, 10:30 or
10 o'clock.
We're going up to 10 o'clock.
My people tell me they need more time to call, so we will take calls in the next 5 minutes. Champagne. Moi vle di bonsoir Lazo a Belé. Moi savou ka koute, moi just jeune commission. Good night to all the people who are following, especially on GVD TV and Sky FM. Champagne, I want people to come to terms with reality. It is not what people say alone that matters. Anybody can accuse anybody of anything. It's easy. With the internet, you can circulate all kinds of false information and this and that. but the evidence. It is what we have to show. And I know, and I challenge them. They had 5 years in government to investigate me for 5 years. They did their investigation. And I'm asking them, present the report. Because now I have seen the pieces of paper.
Yeah.
That are worth nothing more than to flush it.
Wow.
And I told
Norbert,
Norbert I'll send it to him for him to flush it for me.
Wow. Wow. Well, all of St. Lucia would love to see that report before it gets flushed.
You know what somebody told me? The person said to me, you could have taken any school child out of secondary school and they could have prepared that report.
Wow.
Because all the report is all the papers that are in the ministry already. They just photocopy it and they put it together.
My goodness.
Egiodiona report.
And that's $3 million that cost.
Yes.
$3 million.
But that is what you get when you have the Labour Party in office. The Labour Party finds a way to pay the people they want to pay money.
You know, for the people that are listening, and this thing has been in circulation for a long time, you're saying to me a government is going after one individual, one parliamentarian, and does not care what the cost is to take $3 million of the taxpayers' money to investigate that individual and come out empty?
But Champagne,
$3 million?
I'm not I may be the person they've spent the most money to go after. But you remember they took Sir John Johnson and Vaughan Lewis for a $30,000 drain in the bank, and the drain is still there.
Yeah.
And they took the then Prime Minister to court for a drain that is there. I mean, take the Soufre case. You know how much money was involved in the Soufre case? About $3,000. And they spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on lawyers' fees. Now, when the Labour Party does that, don't think Kenny is supposed to be a bright lawyer, Dr. Kenny Anthony. They had Attorney General who's lawyers. They have so many legal people advising them. You think they don't know these cases do have no merit?
No merit. No merit.
But how do they pay their friends money to go and do things? Because the money is not coming from their pocket. The money is coming from the consolidated fund. So, if they want to give their friend a job, if the Labour Party wants to give one of their financiers money to support them in their campaign, so they put any bogus case in court, whatever happens, the lawyer must get paid.
Definitely.
Whether you win or you lose, the lawyer gets paid.
Definitely.
Why isn't the case based on if you win, you get paid, if you lose, you don't get paid?
Yeah.
And you should go and find out what the lawyers' fees are like. But that is what passes for governance. And when we have a real government who's spending the resources of the country to take care of the affairs of the country, you're going to criticize roads. I am proud of what people are telling me in my constituency. You know what people are telling me? A gentleman spoke to me earlier in the week, late last week. And he said to me, man, what is going on? How can you all build these kind of quality roads in these communities? He said, now the roads in the rural communities are better than the roads in Rodney Bay and Capes
Without
State.
a doubt. Without a doubt. That is the fact.
You know what we believe in, Champagne? We believe that everybody in St. Lucia deserves the best.
Yeah, better way of living. Better way of living.
And if you are going to do something, do it well. Don't do it halfway. That all this little patch up and this and that, today you block a pothole, tomorrow it reappears. It's not like that anymore. Champagne, we can begin to take the call.
Yeah, we will take the calls. But before we take the calls, I have to say this.
I want to empower the people in my constituency. You see, my focus going into the election and after the next election is to make as many people entrepreneurs and business owners in my community as possible. Castries Southeast is a very industrious constituency. People don't come and beg government for jobs all the time and this and that. Sometimes people find themselves in a little difficulty. They want something to help them out. But generally speaking, whether you're looking for butchers, they have butchers. You look for farmers, they still remain maybe the highest number of banana farmers. You look at the coconut vendors. 90% of the coconut vendors still come from the constituency of Castries Southeast. You look at taxi drivers, bus companies, teachers, equipment nurses, owners, truckers. The people of Castries Southeast are not people who come and depend on government for handouts. These people are industrious people who work for themselves. And I'm proud of representing that constituency. We have a legacy in this constituency where these people look out for themselves. They employ people.
You know, before we turn on the phone lines, I must say something. The Labour Party brought Sir John Compton, and any of our St. Lucian people who love Sir John, and this man was a great man, a great leader, the father of the nation. They took him to court for $38,000, back and forth, up and down at the courthouse. And when he died, all of those very people showed up. That was the highest level of hypocrisy to me. I stood there and watched every one of them. The same people that took him to court for $38,000 every single time. And they all stood there at that funeral. This was the highest level of hypocrisy in my mind. So we are speaking with the Minister, John Joseph. 4560931 is our number. Beautiful evening to you. Hello.
Good evening, Champion.
And to you, sir. Good evening.
And good evening to your Minister.
Good evening.
I am not from your constituency, but I am just glued to the information that you gave this evening. First question, has that report, has it ever been made a document in the House?
Yes, it is a document of the House. And we have debated it extensively, not during this term, but during the previous term.
Okay, good. Now, I am not an accountant, neither am I a forensic accountant. But when you said that the interest that was paid on that loan of $4,342,350, that was the only thing that the then Minister of Finance objected to, right?
Yes, that was the only thing according to the report.
Exactly. And he made a trip to Trinidad.
Yes.
And he got it reduced by $2.5 million.
Yes.
Now, something is telling me something is going around in circles here.
But can I just add can I tell you what the report says? The report says that in future, the Prime Minister should not be the one to do this. These kinds of things should be done by the public servants.
Well, you see, that's what I'm saying. Something is going around in circles. There is a reason why he was able to make that trip and get that reduction. There is a personal connection there. And we all know the connection with the Trinidad connection. I will not go into any details about Grindberg and how much money was transferred to Trinidad. So, as you were saying, when these guys go through these elaborate schemes to get money and to get back to them, I am only suggesting that that money, some of that money may have come right back into somebody's lap.
Well,
thank you, Colin.
I cannot verify that anybody got any money back on this thing. I can only present the facts as they are. The facts of the report shows that we paid over $15 million or $14 million that we were not obligated to pay. We paid for somebody's debt that we did not owe. And that's what the report says. And that is where the issue is with what transpired. If you have a debt, you pay your debt. Why would you let the people of St. Lucia pay Friendwell's debt? And I challenge the news reporters and everybody in St. Lucia, because when they want to dig things on other people, they know where to find it. Go and find the information about who are the owners of Friendwell.
Beautiful Monday evening to you. Hello?
Yeah, I want to make a contribution there.
Yeah, go ahead, sir. You could want to turn down your radio or your television set just a little bit. Thank you.
I'm doing that now.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I just want to thank the Honorable Minister for making himself present to release this kind of report. And I think our PR, not only this medium, but other mediums for the UWP to really go ahead and expose this kind of, expose the Kenny Anthony administration.
Hello? Well, I think we lost the caller. The caller was saying that the report that you're reading is very, very interesting. And I think a lot of people, although this inquiry came out a while back, but we need to refresh the memories.
Yes, because sometimes people forget the things that have happened and they focus on other things.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that this report has so much information in it that we can speak about it from now until election.
Wow.
Just this report alone.
A beautiful Monday evening to you. Hello?
Yes, good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, sir.
Mr. Minister.
Good evening.
Well, Mr. Minister, thank you so much for that information that you are disseminating to the public. We need these things, and don't mind them when they say that dead already.
Yeah.
It ain't dead yet.
Exactly.
We need to refresh the memories of these people, and thank you for that. Now, Champagne, you made mention about Sir John, the late Sir John, and taking him to court.
Yeah.
For that $38,000. People need to be reminded that it is not, that $38,000 is not money pocketed, you know.
No.
That money was used to do something in
Yes,
sir.
Yes, sir.
And it is still there, you know.
Yeah.
It is not money pocketed.
No.
You see how this
Wicked is the word.
People are.
Wicked is the word. Wicked is the word.
Wicked to the core, you know. To
Wicked.
do that to Sir John.
Yeah.
For something that is being used for the people and by the people.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And it is still in existence today.
It is still in existence. Kenny Anthony can drive LA.
Yeah. Can you believe it?
Obviously, just boy.
Can you believe it?
This
Father
man
of
is
the nation.
wicked, man.
They are wicked people.
These people are wicked people.
The father of the nation. It's not money he got to put on his bank account. Monies that went into a project.
Into a project.
Yeah.
For the people.
Yeah. Can you believe it? And at his funeral, they all assembled. The same people.
Yeah.
Boy.
When you look at the word hypocrisy, it's the members of the assembly.
They invented that word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's meant for them.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, Mr. Minister, thank you. Let me give somebody else a chance.
All right, caller.
Again, and I know we will get more information as time goes by. Thank you and have a good night, Jeff.
All right, have a good one. The amount of information you have with those books, and I know there are more books to come.
Oh, yeah.
456-0931 is our number to call. A beautiful evening to you. Hello? Hello, good evening.
Hey, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, good evening to Champagne and Minister Guy.
Good evening.
Thank you, good evening.
One of the things, when bad things are done, people always jump in the throat of the ministers and things. I must commend Mr. Joseph because I went in his community and I can tell you, I drove in a place that I carpet road from the bottom to go all the way up top. You understand? And I commend Mr. Joseph about that. That's one.
Which area is that, caller? Which community?
Forest Chairman.
Oh, Forest, okay.
I drove up there, and I'd been there before, and I'd never seen a place that is considered to be a farming community so nice. You understand?
It is beautiful.
And I think this is one of the things that people are looking for representation, not just by mouth, but total representation. And it's not just something he's doing in his community alone. I have passed through other communities, and I must say bravo to Mr. Joseph.
Indeed.
I really like what he's doing.
Thank you very much, caller.
Yeah, and there is that thing that he just brought out there that I did not know. Now, I'm a strong Labour Party supporter, but that piece of information that he brought out there, that brought light to me, because I've heard so many things about Mr. Joseph.
Yeah.
As he said, up to a day like today, they cannot prove whatever they're saying about him.
Yeah.
But now he has the thing from Parliament, and
Yes,
he's
the
saying it
inquiry.
right there. You understand? So how can we have these people, they want to represent us, but watch what they've done to us.
Yeah.
41
so million.
Whoever Friendwell is, if it's their friends, and they call it Friendwell, but they've done the work for them, and it's the people of St. Lucia who is suffering at the end of it,
Yeah.
But they're trying to dig all dirt on the man and watch what they have there. It's not something that happened yesterday. So, so I'm, again, bravo to Mr. Joseph, and keep on the good work, Mr. Joseph.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, caller.
Thank you.
Mr. Minister, what would it take for us to find out who Friendwell was? What would it take?
I know who Friendwell was.
Well, you know, but I don't. You know, but I don't.
I want to get the documents, because I don't speak from the top of my head, just say anything.
All right.
I will come with the documents to show who Friendwell was.
Thank you, our caller. Good evening.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Minister.
Good evening.
Mr. Minister.
Happy New Year to you. Have we spoken for the New Year?
I speak so much time, I don't know who I speak to.
All right.
Mr. Minister, moi fâché.
Okay.
Écoute ça, moi toujours fâché. I have day in, day out, night in, night out, SLP saying, Guy Joseph do this, Shasta do this. Guy do this, Shasta do this. Guy do this. Mr. Minister, you have the facts, you have the stuff for the people, take them to court, lock them up. You're not too soft for those guys, man. You're not afraid of them or what? I want Kenny and PNM behind bars. That's what I need. What are y'all ready for? What are y'all ready for? Huh? What are y'all ready for? Do you think if the SLP had that of y'all that you would be sitting there? I don't think so.
Well,
They would have built a special jail for y'all.
So let me say this to you, caller. It is not by accident, and I don't even attribute this to me. I attribute everything to God when it comes to my protection in government. Because not even a bogus case the Labour Party could have filed against me, even if they tried. And I tell you, Champagne and caller, this has nothing to do with me or my ability. God knows my heart. He knows where I stand.
Amen.
And he knows when I approach him, what I tell him, and how I do things. And it was only through him that I did not find myself in court, not because the Labour Party did not try. So I agree with you, caller, if they had get any shred of something that they could have even filed a bogus case, even if they knew they would have lost the case, but they would have said, oh, we have him in court and we have him. But God protected me from that, not because of how good I am, but because of how good God is.
Amen.
Mr. Minister, I know it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see or to know that majority of the reporters in St. Lucia is pro-SLP. I am saying to you, the Prime Minister and other members of the UWP, get your own reporters, your PRO, and take those stuff to the stations. If they're not coming to y'all, go to them. and put those facts on the television, on the news. That's what I'm talking about. You're pussyfooting with these guys, man.
Well, that is why we have Sky FM, and now we are broadcasting on GVD.
Amen.
So we're not just saying it, but the people are seeing what we are saying.
That is right.
And so we will continue to do what we have to do, but our people must also come out and be able to highlight the things that have been done in this country, the injustice of the St. Lucia Labour Party.
Mr. Minister, as long as SLPs know, they will say that GSV TV, whatever it is a UWP visitation. They're not going to watch it. They're not going to watch it. You go to HPS, their children, their buddies, you go to HPS and DBS and throw it on them. That's what you do to them. That's what you do. That's what you do. You pull the lion's tail. That's what I'm saying. Take the bull by the horn. Don't play with the nice guy. How many? I have buddies. Let me tell you something. I have buddies. Buddies of mine. That's from Kwame Darling Road. Okay? Baradil. Buddies of mine. They're my good friends. They will not listen to no program of UWP. They will not. But they will listen to the news. They will listen to the news. And how many more people like them in St. Lucia? You all have to take those stuff to the DBS and to the HPS and to the courts.
Caller, I understand what you're saying, but you know in St. Lucia what gets you wrong very quickly, okay? And we're not bragging, but we have an audience where all of that information is going out there. All of it. And we're going to continue to do it.
So let me say to you, we will never be like the Labour Party. The Labour Party, whenever you elect them into government, they forget that they have a country to govern and they play politics every day. And that is why the St. Lucia always goes backward under the St. Lucia Labour Party. We have to strike a balance between how much talking we do and the work of the people. The people did not elect us to talk.
That's right.
The people elected us to work, and our work is speaking for itself.
Yes, sir.
If you go to Ancillary today and see the work that is going on, you go to Soufre, you go to Choiseul, around St. Lucia,
everywhere.
Micoud, anywhere, and even in the opposition constituencies, they have works going on as we speak. You see, we must strike the balance between how much talking we do and how much work we do. And our work speaks for itself.
Mr. Minister.
Yes.
Let me say this to you. Yesterday morning, they came from church. As they set their foot in the house, I got a phone call. A phone call from a prominent SLP supporter, a very prominent SLP supporter. Tell me I was deaf, a particular guy, and we went on and on and on. You know what he said to me? We went into politics. I said to him, you really want to run this country when nobody will lend a penny? When your boss man, Kenny, said he's not qualified to borrow any money? You know what he said to me? That's a lie. He said to me, that's a lie.
But
did you expect anything different?
But can you change his mind about it? Because you see, people must be willing, and that's why we talk to sensible people, we speak to people, we present the evidence for them, and at the end of the day, we cannot decide for them. They have to decide for themselves. So let me say this to you, caller. You look at the level of obscenity of the operatives of the Labour Party, and these are not ordinary operatives. These are programmed operatives who's getting the directive from the hierarchy of the Labour Party. You see the threats that they are making. You see, now, in a different country, the police would have acted. Certain actions would have been taken because There are people inciting violence.
Yes.
And whenever Labour Party realizes that they are losing,
Yeah.
that is what they do.
Yeah.
So when you see people start cursing and swearing and making all kinds of threats and things, you know that they're not in a good place. But you see, you have to understand that this is the MO of the Labour Party. So I know that these people are getting directives from the hierarchy of the Labour Party to come out and attack and to make all, I mean, the language is despicable. These are not things that, just the slangs and all of the things that are being used. Is that what our politics have become? And you tell me that the Labour Party will not outrightly condemn? They cannot condemn the actions because they are the instigators of these kinds of actions.
Yeah. All right, caller. I give you a minute. One more minute, caller.
Okay, 1 more minute. Hey, champion. You never said my call by time, you know.
I give you 1 more minute, caller.
But champion, Mr. Minister, also within the UWP, I realized that when I talk about things, the atrocities that the SFP done, I have seen supporters in UWP telling me to go past that, move on. Go past that, move on. Supporters of the UWP on radio stations. I got a problem with that. I want to know their 2 cents. I tell you the truth. I want to know their 2 cents. They are telling me move on with something else. So I'm looking for answers on St. Jude's. I'm looking for answers on Frenwell. I'm looking for answers on Rochebelle. I'm looking for answers on the seabed. I'm looking for answers on the great architect / engineer, Mr. Tiago King, who came out and said what solution need to know.
I wonder who those UWP supporters are, caller. Maybe you're speaking to the wrong. Maybe you think you're speaking to UWP supporters, and they may be labeled.
Listen to me, Champagne. If it's you, I say as you. Believe me. If it's you, I say as you. I ain't scared of a fella. If it's you, I say as you. I said that announcers on certain radio stations. If it's you, I say as you. Champagne, believe me. You don't know me. If it's you, I say as you. Okay? I know it's not you.
No. I didn't say you said it was me. It couldn't be me. I'm saying maybe you think those people are UWPs and they're not.
None of them has rebuked Mr. Tiago King. None of them has rebuked Mr. Tiago King. When it's Shasta do this, Shasta do that, Shasta, no, it's all Kenny Anthony. And they keep telling me, oh, go on, move on to something else. That's what I'm talking about.
All right, caller.
I'm saying you might have some suicide within the UWP also. Have a good night.
All right, my brother. Have a good one. All right, 4560931. We have another 18 minutes into the program. Are we still doing you still have a giveaway tonight? Not tonight?
Once we get to that, we'll deal with it.
All right, 4560931 is our number to call. You could call the minister about anything regarding our beautiful St. Lucia or inside Castries Southeast. You said you knew who Frenwell was. I'm really, really interested in that because I know all of St. Lucia, based on the report you read there tonight, parts of it, would be very, very happy to know who Frenwell was. A beautiful evening to you. Hello? Hello?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes?
I would just like to tell Mr. Joseph that he needs to leave his constituency. Hello?
We're there. Don't listen to your radio caller. You could go ahead.
I'm just saying that I want to tell Mr. Joseph that he needs to leave his constituency and come up to Castries East, please, so that we could get some work done in the area and uplift the area. Because we have a rep there for over 25 years, and nothing is happening.
That is for sure.
Nothing is happening. You know, you have a stranger, you take a stranger from overseas to come up to Castries East, and it's embarrassing. It's really embarrassing. And it's like we have had it. We have had it. The road, the place is dirty, Marsha, from the time you live by Kalalu, coming up Marshall Road there.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what Philip JPA have done for our constituency. There is a place in Bocage that they never have water. Water, the people are suffering for water, and it's over 25 years we have a rep. And that man haven't been doing anything for our constituency.
But Kola, I have done a lot of work in Castries East. When I was minister, I did quite a bit of work in Castries East with all the roads in Entrepot, Independent City going up there. Even as we came in there, we just did the steps going to the Bocage School. And we have quite a bit of road repairs and things happening. The section joining with T. Rocher, the retaining wall that went down in T. Rocher.
Well, she told you, she didn't say it was you. She said it was the minister, Philip J. Pierre.
So I'm just telling you that you told me I need to come there to do some work.
Mr. Minister, without cutting you short, remember after Thomas, the Labour Party government, the administration, they wanted to close the road up in Bakatel.
Yeah,
with that massive piece of landslide. And that is a major road.
Yep, you're right,
A major road.
You're right on that.
And they came there, they said they cannot fix the road, and praise God, thank God. Stevenson King came in and he worked with the same fresh start. None of them don't want to see. The local man, none of them don't want to see him.
Yeah.
They were the ones, sleepless nights working up on that road to reopen that road there.
Wow.
You know, sleepless nights working to give us that road back, a major road like that.
Yeah.
And that man haven't done, I don't know if he just going Tikaba way in the areas and fool the people. But I haven't seen anything that man have done for. Nothing.
Well, Kola, can I give you some good news? After the next election, we'll have a good rep. How about that?
But I pray to God that the UWP administration stays in power.
All right. Well,
because that's the only time I think Castries East will get a relief.
Definitely.
Castries East is dead just as the late Romanus Lancico left Castries East. That is it.
And it has deteriorated much, much more.
What? I tell you, it's humiliating.
Oh, my goodness.
When you leave Masha coming up there, don't go through Entrepot. Entrepot is under UWP. But back at yourself, what have that man done for the especially the young children, not putting nothing in place?
Kola, you are talking about my hometown. It's
the only thing I think that man did was, I remember when they came with step, give the young people cutlass to cut the grass by the road. What else? Just making the people, and I am frustrated.
Yeah.
Honestly, I am fed up and I am frustrated.
Yeah.
Whoever wants to hide him, they can hide him, but I am not hiding him. He haven't done nothing for us.
But I think he has come to the end of the road, Kola, for sure.
I pray to God that it's over for him.
Yes, it is. It definitely is.
Because we can't have somebody there for 25 years and what?
Yeah, nothing to account for. Nothing to account for.
Nothing.
Unbelievable.
The place just turned from, sometimes when I come up to Bakatel, I see I'm in Africa somewhere.
It's really in a deplorable condition.
You know, it's humiliating. And you know, the last time I saw Ernest Hiller coming up the road there in his Range Rover, which one of them, I don't know, well tinted up. I wanted to stop him and tell him, look at his partner constituency.
Yeah. Oh, he has more than one Range Rover, Kola?
I have. Myself. But you know, on a serious note, that man haven't done anything for us.
No, he has to go, for sure, this time.
We have two little walls in Bakatel. The water we were suffering with in Bakatel there is, Romanus Lancico was the one who came and changed the pipeline for us. We were getting water from Hill 20. And then that man came there and we spoke to him and he put the water from the morning, and that's when we started getting water in Bakatel. I remember young girl going up and down carrying water right on the flat marsha. Every time like that, my mother has to be waking me up 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
And nothing to account for, nothing. And the man just on the news, just brabbing.
So, Kola, you know my constituency boundaries.
Mr. Joseph, without cutting you short, I ask you to just leave where you are there and come up Castries East. Please, we need help.
Okay.
We need help. Have a good night. Love you all. Stay strong. I'll keep on praying for you all.
Thank you,
Do
Kola.
the work that you all are doing.
Yes.
Much appreciated.
Thank you, Kola. Have a good night.
And tell my PM I love him very much.
All right. Beautiful.
All righty.
You know, almost every Monday you get here, somebody wants you to come to the constituency.
But here's the you know, I forgot that bridge by Bakatel there. You know, I forgot when I was in government. We built
what's
that
his name?
bridge.
What's his name? I forget the guy.
Sewak was the one who did
that. A beautiful
bridge.
evening to you, hello.
All my wish is that every single one in this government remain for next 5 years. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
San Lucia is shining from that light. I could tell you, I'm a truck driver all over the place, north, east, and everywhere. I see the work, what them fellows, what we vote for.
Mm-hmm.
I talk in behalf of the majority people in conversation that that party is supposed to remain 5 years more and do the work that they promise that they're doing it indeed.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, and all the best, Mr. Joseph, and all the cabinet.
Yes.
Thank you
all
so
right,
much,
Colin. Thanks a lot.
Happy New Year, and God bless you. I will keep it up. Boy, I drive in so nice in the road. I never drive again for more than 30 years in St. Lucia.
Wow.
Okay?
All right.
And I know the promise have been forbidden that they say they will bring new St. Lucia, and they're doing slowly. We need to support. And I know I join my vote for 5 years again, and that will happen again in God willing.
All right. Thanks a lot,
Thank
Colin.
you, caller. That is very much appreciated, and I'm happy he brought up the truckers.
Yes, yes.
Every truck in St. Lucia has been engaged.
Yes.
There's work going on.
That is a fact. A beautiful evening to you, hello?
And to you too.
Yes, good evening.
And a special good night to my favorite minister.
Good night, Miss Cooper.
George Cooper.
George Cooper Road.
Yes, yes.
Before you say anything, today I stood in the government buildings at Cabinet, looking out the window, and I saw VH looking nice
beautiful.
with that painting. I said, that old building, that's the abandoned nursing quarters.
Yes.
We just need to knock down that place. And I'm sure when you look from George Cooper Road, you see the beauty of VH now.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, George Cooper, everything is good?
No.
What happened?
Huh?
What's going on? What is wrong?
Nothing not wrong, huh?
I spoke to you already, huh? You and I had a conversation.
Yes, I remember.
Beautiful. All right.
Full stop.
Okay, Dudu.
Mr. Minister?
Yes.
I love you.
I love you too, and I always appreciate your call. Now, the next time Champagne come in and see you, he has to bring me.
Okay.
She said, all right, George Cooper, have a good night.
Okay, same to you and the minister.
Yes.
All right.
You know, you want to ask yourself whether or not the Labour Party loves nice things, things that are attractive, not even paint. And when painting is done, they still have a problem.
You saw the CDC?
Oh, my goodness. It's unbelievable.
With independence coming on.
Special good evening to you. Hello.
Good evening, good night, Mr. Minister.
Good night.
Yeah, St. Lucian, we love you all, but leave our minister where he is for us, please. We're not giving, we're not borrowing.
I knew somebody was going to say that.
All right, then.
Okay, caller. I knew somebody was going to come up with that. No, seriously. I mean, you want to ask yourself, a beautiful evening to you. Hello.
Bonsoir, Monsieur Champagne.
Bonsoir, Monsieur.
Pas qu'à faire temps.
Moi, bien après, bon Dieu.
Bonsoir, Monsieur Guy Joseph.
Bonsoir.
Ok, demain bon matin, ring the bell qu'il soit en citizen arrest.
Oui,
N'a arrêté Philippe Gépien.
À ce qui raison?
Parce que il y a plus qui 25 ans qu'il parle avec ma machin rien. So demain bon matin, n'a arrêté. C'est ça mon pour dire ça.
Ou pas quoi ou arrêté?
Moi yon ka arrêté citizen arrest.
Ok, citizen arrest.
On va parler demain.
Ok. Okay. No, seriously. You ask yourself from 2011 up until 2016, what did these guys have to show to the people of St. Lucia? And there's nothing you could come up with. A beautiful evening to you. Hello?
Good evening, Champagne.
Good evening, sir.
Hello good evening to the minister.
Good evening.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Minister, that's the first time I am calling you, all right?
Okay.
I've always tried to call you over the years, and that's the first time. But I admire your style. I admire the way that you handle things. To me, that you're one of the best politicians in the Eastern Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much, Colin.
I
I've always said that I would love to meet with you one day. I know that your constituency, during the COVID, like as it was very difficult for people to see you.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always said that I wish to meet with you one day.
Okay.
Whatever, personal level, whatever it is. You understand?
All right.
Yeah. But I want to ask you a question, because I know they ask me. Do you believe that Philip J. Pierre was a puppet or is a puppet? Because most of the stuff that since while he was in government, remember that he was called the deputy prime minister, and everything that they asked him, he does not know, because through all the decision making that Kenny Anthony did, he had no insight as to what was taking place, So I don't know whether he was a puppet or whether he did not have any say in what his own government was doing. So what is your take on that?
So let me respond. I cannot tell you whether he's a puppet. I see him as a colleague parliamentarian,
Yes.
so I would not call him a puppet.
Right.
What I would tell you is that in cabinet there is what we call collective responsibility. So once a decision is made, even if you're not in support of the decision, it's attributed to you. Now, leaders emerge because they have the ability to lead, not because it's their turn. There's nothing in leadership that says it's my turn. Where my difficulty with the member for Castries is everything you're hearing is it's my turn now, it's my turn now. There's nothing like my turn. If you have the attributes, if you have the qualities, if you have the temperament, if you have the qualities of a leader, people will see leadership in you. Now, you have to stand for something. I have not seen anything that I can attribute to Honorable Philip J. Pierre that he has stood for, whether with his government or against his government. It's like he is there without being there. And that is why I see no leadership qualities in him. All I see is I've been there for 25 years because every time we're in parliament, he puts up his hand to tell me how many years he has been there. And what I simply tell him, if you're there for 25 years and that is what you have done, I'd rather not be there at all.
That's true.
So he has not shown that he has what it takes to lead. In this world, in this environment, in globalization and everything that is happening, people in St. Lucia would really take Philip J. Pierre serious to make him prime minister. Is anybody really thinking about this?
No.
Generally, when you speak to people, they tell you, we do not see him as prime minister material.
No, he doesn't have it.
Nobody is going to depend on Philip J. Pierre to go and negotiate for St. Lucia and make things happen for St. Lucia.
No.
That is true.
Yeah.
All
right, caller. All right, you have a good evening. All right, beautiful. All right, 4560931. Well, we have 3 minutes. Can we go to 10:30? No, 3 minutes. Okay. The minister said we're going up to 10 o'clock, and that is in 3 minutes time. Let's take. We might have enough time for 2 more. A beautiful evening to you. Hello.
Yeah. Good evening, gentlemen.
Yes. Good evening, sir.
Sambel.
Yes, sir.
With Minister Pierre talking about using Castries South for 25 years.
Castries East.
Castries East. He cannot match the performance of Mr. Guy Joseph in this term.
No, but that's not even a conversation. He knows that.
Okay. Number 2, a lot of people, Castries South East has becoming a model constituency.
Castries South East?
Yeah, it's becoming a model constituency.
Oh, yes.
Even at my workplace, people ask me to ask Mr. Joseph to come to the constituency.
That has been asked all of them.
Castries South.
Yes.
Now, what I have observed is that I think the party should boost up its PR. It is time. We in a new year, we in an election year, the party needs to boost up its PR. Yeah. And Mr. Joseph, thank you very much for your presentation. And people of Castries South, they need to thank your wife also for allowing you the time you spend in that
Yes,
constituency.
we need to give her the bell on that.
I look at her as
Yes.
another Michelle Obama.
Yes, yes. And the minister has said that himself up here. He has said that.
Very,
I mean,
very
to
supportive.
to allow your husband to give up so much time to his constituents, that is amazing.
Yeah. I think she was even mad with me last week, Caller.
No, in fact, I'll call her, stay on the line. I meant to correct that. I knew something happened. So I knew her credit finished.
Oh, that happened? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought she was mad at me for keeping you here.
So she said, but you know if my phone cut off, is that something happened. So you should have clarified. Okay. Because she was just joking.
I know she was. She was. So, Caller, you're from Castries Southeast, I take it, right?
Yes, I am from Castries Southeast.
And can I ask you something?
Yes, you can.
From 2016, and let's not go into the time the minister got involved with politics. I'm talking about 2016. How satisfied are you on a percentage level with the performance of the minister?
Champagne, that's not a question. Let me tell you something.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Let me tell you. From adult suffrage to now, you'll put all the reps of Castries South East.
Mm-hmm.
Their work have not matched the work of Mr. Joseph in this term. In these 5 years, this term.
Yep, that's a fact.
Okay, it's a fact.
Yeah.
And I do not know when or if we'll ever get another representative like him.
Yeah. All right, Caller. Well, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
There's something I want to say, Dr. Champion.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's a road, when you leave the one going down Latok Road, before Sandals.
Oh, yeah.
There's this, it used to be motorable before. It takes you direct
That's the old military road.
Old military road.
Mm-hmm.
I think that road should be
repaired,
and let it be an access road.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a very, very important road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, the minister will look into it. I know him. Oh, definitely. Now that you mention it tomorrow, I think he'll be up there.
Now, something talking about Castries East.
Oh, my goodness.
The parliamentary rep did a stint as Minister of Infrastructure. Remember that?
He was. He definitely was.
He did a stint there.
Could you believe that?
And my last contribution is, if every parliamentarian had the qualities of Mr. Joseph, they would never lose an election.
I believe that in my heart.
And finally, don't you see leadership qualities in him too?
Caller. Caller, what you doing there tonight there? I think you should leave that alone. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about
Mr. Joseph has leadership qualities.
All right. Okay. He has proven it. It has been proven, Caller.
Happy New Year, guys.
And it's the same to you. Okay. So we are 1 minute after 10. Is that it?
We can take a few more calls.
Oh, great.
People are messaging me and telling me they've been trying to get the line for the longest while.
A beautiful Monday evening to you. Hello.
Good evening, Champion.
And to you, sir.
Good evening to my favorite minister.
Good evening.
Yeah. You know when I call, I don't know if you know my voice. You know I like our update of you,
St. Jude's.
And the airport.
Okay, all right.
Oh, well, I cannot give you on the airport, but St. Jude, I am quite happy. In fact, we've put in a task force together, and we've been meeting every week to meet our deadlines for St. Jude.
Wow.
I am not going to give my deadlines in public, but people will see a lot of activity on St. Jude in before the end of the month.
Wow.
That's as much as I would say for
before the end of this month?
Yes.
Wow.
We were talking, I think, last week, and you were talking that you had a brother working at the lighthouse.
Yeah.
The late Rupert Kajada, when he was stationed in Viewport, were your brother working there?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All right.
I wish you the very best.
My brother worked at the lighthouse, and he worked as a machinist at the brewery for many years. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I was just trying to see the period of time. Yeah. And I wouldn't have known him.
Okay.
All right, caller, that's it?
Yeah.
All right, my brother.
Let me wish the minister all the best for the new year.
Thank you.
His family, his constituency, and our government. I'm depending on him to put put forward my request to the cabinet so it could be put into consideration in the development of the Southern Basin.
I'm thinking. Sorry, I'm thinking you might. Well, I don't want to call it migrate because you're from Beaufort. I think you might move back down to Beaufort. Caller.
Well, I'm not lucky as the minister. I don't think as the minister to buy a piece of property. Though I have a little place there where my grandparents lived.
Yeah.
But I should have invested in something more substantial.
Yeah.
I didn't do that. When I have lived all my life in Gozile, I have my property.
Let me say to you, I knew when Beaufort was a bustling town, when the NIC building was fully operational in downtown Beaufort, when Singer was down there, when you had all the shops down there on Market Street, I think they call it, going all the way down. In fact, my brother used to own a little restaurant down on Market Street. So when people think, was it JB's supermarket? I mean, Beaufort Town took a back step under the watch of Dr. Kenny Anthony.
Absolutely.
Beaufort, the town, the main activity in town was crippled when the Labour Party came into office. And now we are beginning to see some life coming back into Beaufort,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when I just hope that the people of Beaufort South and Beaufort North are listening to my voice as someone who have lived in both community, and both community means so much to me. My hometown means so much to me, and the development of the southern part of my country, I would like to see it really get off the ground.
Caller, the people of Beaufort South and Beaufort North has to run after those two representatives there. That's simple.
There's no doubt about it.
They need to just get rid of these guys.
When the campaign starts,
just get rid of these guys.
I want to be one of the soldiers.
Yeah, get rid of these people. These people.
Because we cannot take another term of these two fellas that have done nothing.
Yeah.
As I've always said, I believe the hardest seat for us is Labrie.
There's no hard seat. The minister doesn't want me to say that. I keep telling him about that 17-0. He keeps laughing at me. We are aiming for 17-0, and it is well deserving because based on these people's record.
I wish I had
this is the basis.
I wish I had the confidence like you. Maybe it could work, but I am sure.
Caller,
had enough.
I'm
counting 16.
Listen, I am only going. I'm not just trying to be sarcastic on this thing. I'm going on the basis of those people, these people's performance. You understand? When you ask the former prime minister, a young person who turns 20 this year, she comes up to a mom or a member of a family and say, well, is there something that I could depend on, something that you show me something that my representative had done for me in my constituency, and what does she have to, what is there to show?
Yeah,
there's nothing to show. You go to Beaufort North, same thing.
Yeah, but we know that. But I have given you my reason why I think Labrie is a difficult constituent.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe we might say.
Yeah.
All right, Cole. Have a good evening.
You too.
All right, beautiful.
Safe drive back home.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, the minister have indicated that we're going up to 10:30. We want to take some more calls. So 4560931 is our number to call. A beautiful evening to you. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, let me ask Mr. Joseph, let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Possibly ask you a question.
Sure.
What is the difference between government acquiring lands and properties that are in receivership and what you spoke about a little earlier?
If government acquires property that's in receivership, if government acquires property that's in receivership, then government has that property as an asset. In the case of what I highlighted, we paid the money, but we got nothing for the value of the money.
But would you not satisfy yourself that Sanders in that very same property is a plus that it is there?
But government didn't have to pay the debt for Sandals to buy the property. Sandals, hold on. You found out how much Sandals bought the property for? Since you
Well,
asking.
buying the property is not the thing, but I mean for saving.
No. So no. If you're going to ask me something, then you have to give me a chance to explain it.
Mm-hmm.
We paid a debt for somebody that we did not owe, and we had nothing to show for it.
Right.
On a property that's in receivership, that you go and you buy, you own the property. So when you pay the money, you actually have something to show for it.
Yeah. The only reason why I asked that question is because the thing about helping out people, I think when we buy property in receivership, especially if they are friends of any political party, I don't support it.
All right, caller. Now I recognize your voice and you in the background of an echo, but that's all right.
But let me say to you, to me, the best properties to buy are properties that are in receivership because you get it at the best possible price. So it's like going to when the bank have properties, it doesn't have to be owned by government but individuals go to the bank, you look at the listing of properties that are in receivership, you look at cars that have been repossessed by the bank, and people buy it because that's where you get the best deal.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong in buying property that's in receivership. But if you buy property in receivership and after you pay the money, you don't have no property, that is where it's bad.
As la ville mess we are there. All right, caller, thanks a lot. Have a good one. And I recognize the caller's voice. He tried to put a little something on me, but that's okay. 4560931 is our number to call. A beautiful evening to you. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. Mr. Guy Joseph, that there?
That's the minister, yes?
Yes. Eh bien, manière pour les barrières, c'est pour former Salvation Committee. Gardez pour pas Joseph. Ou yo vieux tuer sigle encore.
Caller, pas Joseph, pas blé, c'est pour ça, hein?
Pourquoi?
Moi qui dis ça. Pas Joseph, si vous...
Moi, je regarde pour les mots, je dis ça, je dis ce jour, je vais parler pour moi, document.
Ok, Bana. All right.
Ministre, c'est ministre, nous-mêmes, Mac.
Oui.
Ok, nous allons.
Ou quoi, WhatsApp, peut-être à l'autre constituency, là?
Nous devons bailler, là où on a monté marchand.
Tout le monde c'est marchand.
Nous devons voir là, parce que nous sommes pensés là pour nous faire un cimetière.
Ok. All right, caller.
Nous allons.
4560931 St. Lucia. We're going up until 10:30. You want to call in to ask the minister a question regarding St. Lucia or his constituency? 4560931. A beautiful evening to you. Hello.
Champagne.
Yes. Good night.
Champagne.
Yes, I could hear you, but you want to turn down your radio, please? A little.
Champagne.
Hello. Good evening.
Hello. Good evening.
Yes, we could hear you.
Champagne.
Yes, I could hear you, caller.
Hello.
Moi, captain, no, Doudou.
Di champagne qui te gagne Joseph bat nous a fait coquine pour fumer.
Pas champagne,
salty.
Oui, moi, point.
Qui te gagne Joseph bat nous a fait coquine pour fumer.
Well, okay, caller.
Visa, Jumbia.
Okay, caller.
Jumbia.
Okay. Now, I recognize the voice because we had put a ban on him for the statement that was made regarding. So he disguised the voice, but I picked it up. But that's all right. A beautiful evening to you. Hello. Hello, good evening.
Good night.
Good night. Don't listen to your phone caller, your television set. Just talk to us.
Good night.
Yes,
Good
yes.
night.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay, a blessed new year to my minister.
Thank you very much, and same to you.
Okay, I'm coming from Chope, Mr. Guy Joseph.
All right. Which Chope? Sarot or Badni?
Badni.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, that's it?
That's it.
All right, have a good night.
Thank you very much
All
for the call.
Beautiful.
All right.
All right, 4560931, and you could call us here with the minister, would be able to answer all of your questions, You know, you made a statement just now, and I think a caller called to speak about that a little. And those documents that you have here highlighting or indicating to St. Lucia what is in there. And these guys, up until now, all they have is talk. Guy Joseph this, Guy Joseph that, Guy Joseph this. But not, it just dawned on me tonight that there's nothing they have documented anywhere.
No, because
Nothing.
It's the Labour Party's MO. They just attack you personally.
Yeah. Thanks for holding, caller. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, Champagne.
Yes, good evening.
Happy New Year to you.
And the
Happy
same
New
to
Year.
you.
Yeah, Mr. Guy, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, Mr. Guy, what I would like you, not what I would like you, I think the name you'll have to give the Labour Party is the Labour Party.
Laid back. Okay, I like that. Yeah, laid back. Yes.
That's a good name for
That's
them.
a good name.
Okay.
Yes.
The Labour Party, that's so good for them. Give them the Labour. Because
Laid back.
everything is back for them. So
They
write
should-
that down.
Yeah, I will write that down. I have
Yeah.
write it down a little later. Laid back party.
Yeah, laid
Yes,
back party.
yes,
Everything
yes.
is laid back.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I hear you put some information out there. According to what you was reading there a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that Mr. What do you call his name again? The senator, the independent senator, Mr. Jamari. Jamari, that is his name.
Which one?
Jamari.
Mr. OJ?
No, Mr. Jamari,
Okay.
the independent senator. He's an independent
Oh,
senator.
yes, yes. That's previously, yes, yes.
Oh, he's not in it anymore.
No, well, he's not a senator now.
Oh, okay. I thought he was an independent senator.
No.
Yeah, because I heard he give Mr. The fresh start a lot of talk the last time there when you all had give them a little something,
Mm.
You remember what you all had give fresh start? They say he's not qualified for that.
Oh, the concession.
Right.
Mm.
So I wonder what he would have say for that information you put out there.
Mhm.
I hope he listening.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, you have to come out and say something about that too, because if they pay a thing like that for somebody you all don't owe, pay
Yeah.
somebody bills like that for them,
Yeah.
and what's the name?
Fresh start.
Fresh start,
Yeah.
fresh start.
Yeah.
Huh? He's a
local company.
A local company that presently employs more than
Yeah, more than-
250
Can you believe that?
people.
Can you believe it?
Yeah.
And let me say, just permit me a minute of your time, caller, to say that Fresh Start is one of the companies that employs the most subcontractors, equipment, and trucks among all contractors in St. Lucia.
Yep.
And I say that without fear of criticism. Now, people usually attack me. I will always support St. Lucian contractors.
Oh, yeah.
When I supported Renault, when Renault got the project from the Kuwaitis for almost over $20 million, nobody didn't accuse me of being shareholder in Renault and this and that. But if Fresh Start gets a contract, then it's because Guy have some shares.
Yeah, Guy have a share or something.
Yeah.
You know, people must grow up in this place and call a spade a spade.
That's right. That's right.
And also I want you all to highlight the 5 to stay alive, because I hear you all say much about it.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it is in progress, right? Some of them has
because
been.
you all what you all have to you all will do. You all do it.
We
in the
did it.
manifesto.
That's right.
Yes.
That's
You know?
right. That's
Because
right.
a lot of people like, I myself is a bus driver. I like the the 150 I paid for my license fee, and I think the truck drivers,
Yes.
Oh yeah, big
everybody
savings
like
for
that.
the truck
A big
drivers.
saving
Yes,
for that,
definitely, definitely.
And I had none of the driver complaining about they not getting work, but the truck drivers.
Oh yeah. I mean, when I see the Bedfords and the Lelands and all of them
Truckers.
back on the road, it's an whenever UWP is in office, you see that happening.
Yeah, that happened. All the beam they give you all, but I know for a fact, you see that one, the truck are making a little money.
All the truckers
because
are
some of the drivers now even sell the vehicle and to buy to purchase a truck now. You see a lot of bus drivers have trucks now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sell in the road and the van and they prefer to buy a truck. So if they don't have work, they will never do that.
Well said, Colin. Well said.
So
well said.
I like your speed.
All right.
Also, Champagne, I might have to come and see you anytime because Mr. Guy have to come and see my wall in Chase Garden.
Oh, yes,
Right?
I remember you called a few months ago.
But I have to make a time for you all to
Champagne,
see.
you will have to bring Minister King.
Yeah,
here,
that's
you
what.
know.
Oh, definitely. Mr. King is welcome at any time.
Yeah, all right.
Now, listen, caller. Let me because the minister just said that. Have you ever approached Mr. King concerning that wall?
Yeah. I think it's only that COVID thing they didn't come up.
All right.
But I get a call. Somebody tell me, say, well, they might have to do it before election.
Beautiful.
But I know if election call February, it will happen.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So you're aware of it.
Yes. All right. Beautiful. All
okay.
Right.
Well, thanks
And the minister will be here one of these days. I promise you that.
Okay. All right.
Beautiful. All right. Have a good evening.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Great. 4560931. We have another 11 minutes into the program. We're going up until 10:30. You know the truckers. We really need to ring the bell on the truckers. Because I can tell you, I traverse those roads of St. Lucia and you see a lot of truckers. My goodness. A beautiful evening to you. Hello.
Hey, good evening and Happy New Year to both of you.
Thank you, sir. The same to you.
Yeah, Minister Joseph, what's up, bro?
I'm good.
Okay. I want to make a plea through your program that we have some road in Monkey Town in Cicero. That road is very kind of terrible. You know, the upper road and so on is okay, but that somewhere going around the ring road, like the second lane.
Yeah.
Yes, and
that's when you pass just above the community center to go there, or the one lower down the community center.
You go through the community center, that road going down there, but you don't take the first right. You go down and take the second right.
Okay.
This road there.
I know that road. I think we have that road on one of the programs, if my memory serves me right. But that's on the Minister King's ministry. But
I'm aware because I know.
I know there's one of these roads in Monkey Town is down on that road program to be done.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, but the other road lower down is a concrete road. Just part of it did not done at the time. It was concrete.
Okay.
They are part of it, but that one is okay. But the second lane, that's where the problem, and that's where most of the buses going around, because this is the main route actually.
All right.
Yeah. So is that road leading into the main Millennium Highway? No, it's not going all the way down there.
Coming out in the junction where the truck had overturned.
Right. Yes, I remember a few years ago there was a huge pothole there as well, and that was fixed.
Yeah, actually, it's mud and stone. They're throwing it.
Okay. Yeah. All right, caller. Well, the minister will talk to Minister King about it.
No problem.
All right, beautiful. All right, Senator 4560931. We have another 9 minutes into the program, and we want to say thank you very much for all of your calls. And the minister will be here every single Monday as long as he's on island. And I don't think he'll be out of island for a little while because we have the coronavirus still causing some havoc. A beautiful evening to you. Hello.
Yeah, just calling to make a contribution.
Go right ahead.
Thank you.
Go ahead, caller. Go ahead with your contribution.
Hello?
Yes, we could hear you. Just don't listen to your device. Just talk to us.
Okay. Good night to everyone.
Good night.
Okay, I just want to say that I love the show because it is of a very good spirit.
Thank you.
It's very cool and a very happy forum, and even know a few names of the opposition is called, but it's not derogative language. It's not very bad.
Thank you very much, caller.
High-tempered and angered.
Thank you.
But it is cool and easygoing, and as a believer, as a Christian, that's the kind of spirit I live in, and I love the UWP because of this kind of level of cool and very controlling environment that is in them.
Thank you, caller. Thank you.
And I wish them the best, and I believe God will honor them a few more years to lead these people.
Amen. Thanks a lot,
caller.
All right. Have a great evening.
And I just saw a message that was posted a while ago saying that definitely Prime Minister Alan Shastney, the person who sent the message, believes that he's a visionary leader that God have chosen for this time.
Yes, sir.
And that is, when callers can tell you that, it's good.
It's there.
I feel that way about the Prime Minister. We could not have had a better Prime Minister than we have today.
Thanks for holding, caller. Good evening. Hello? Caller, we could barely hear you, though. We could hardly hear you. Hello? And you need to turn your radios down, please. That's a little. Hello? Okay, caller, so we are unable to hear you properly. All right, another 6 minutes into the program. St. Lucia 4560931. Mr. Minister, any last words? Because we may take some calls, but we have another 5 minutes, so maybe you want to do your last words.
Yes, Champagne, I was thinking of what question I was going to ask for, for my giveaway tonight. Maybe I will come to it. Maybe somebody will get it. But I want to begin by asking, because my questions are usually based on the discussions that have taken place.
Yes.
And I did give the numbers a couple of times during the show. So if anybody can tell me how much money was the loan of Frenwell, the loan that Frenwell took that the government ended up paying without the interest.
Right.
Anybody who answers that will get a gift voucher of $150.
All right. You heard the question, callers.
So Frenwell took a loan that the government paid. How much was that loan?
Yes.
The loan without the interest.
4560931. Special good evening to you. Hello?
40 million.
No, give me the amount in US dollars. That is the figure that I quoted. I made reference to 40, 41 million and different. But I gave an amount in US dollars that was the Frenwell loan. Right. How much was it?
Well, here is not it.
40 million back.
Caller, you'll have
to call back, caller. Okay.
14 million.
14 million, he said.
No, that's incorrect.
Incorrect, caller. All right, so we're looking for the amount in US dollars, the loan that Frenwell took.
Not with the interest.
Right, without the interest. All
without
right, beautiful.
the interest. Yes.
Hello, good evening.
Is it 12.75 million?
He said 12.75 million.
That is very correct.
Oh, caller, you are accurate. Very, very correct. You paid a lot of attention tonight.
So
yes, that's the pineapple man again.
The pineapple man.
Boy, I have some regular winners in PM's constituency. I'll have to start taxing PM.
That's right.
Yes, from the time you came in there, I put off everything just to listen to your program.
Yes, beautiful.
Thank you, and that's very much appreciated, Pineapple Man.
Yes.
Well, I do have your information, so you will give me a call tomorrow.
Yes.
Yes, no problem.
All right. Anything else you'd like to say to the minister before you hang up?
Well, nothing for now. Well, maybe next time, because since he'll be on the show continuously every Monday,
yes.
There are a lot of things that will come up.
All right, caller. All right, congratulations.
Right.
All right, beautiful. All right.
So, Champagne, I just want to take the opportunity to thank all St. Lucians for putting faith and trust in the United Workers' Party government. I know we are into an election year, and you will hear a lot of people will come and promise. But you have to take people at what they've done. People who have never been in government, never been in a position of authority, can talk about promises. But people who have been in government, and if they affiliate with a particular party, then they ought to be able to show you what the track record of the party
Can
has been.
we take this one?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, we'll do the last one. Special good evening to you. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Champagne, you remember that statement? I think it was made in Parliament. I will spend any amount of money to see that Guy Joseph doesn't come back to the House of Parliament.
That statement was made.
You remember that statement?
I do remember it, yes, sir.
And we won with a resounding majority.
That is for sure.
1,000 plus.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That is the might of the man. We know what we have in Castries South.
Yes.
Castries South, sorry.
Castries
and we'll
South
remain with that.
Yes, yes, definitely.
Yeah, that's what I have to say.
All right, caller. Thanks a lot. Boy, I'll tell you something. How people could they remember a lot of the words and the things that were said.
Yes, because there's been a lot of personal attacks. And if you realize, in my approach, I go with what the facts are. I don't come and make up stories about colleague politicians or parliamentarians. If something is not right, I come out and I say it is not right. I'm not here to bash anybody. But I was saying earlier to you, Champagne, people come and they promise all kinds of things. But when they've been in positions of authority, I mean, one of my constituents told me, the Labour Party candidate who came and said that, oh, they're concerned about poor people. And when they look at the vehicle that he's driving, in the constituency going, they tell him, really, you're concerned about poor people? Now, all of us, it cannot be we are concerned about poor people. We have to be concerned about people.
Ah, beautiful.
You see, now that is
Beautiful.
what differentiates us from, there's no pretense. I don't try to capitalize on people's weaknesses and vulnerabilities to try and get their votes. So because they know generally people who are at the lower level of the economic ladder are more vulnerable, so they try to use these people to get into office.
Yes.
And as soon as they get into office, they forget these people.
Yep.
I challenge anybody who have served and represented Castries Southeast before me to show that they have given more contracts than I have to people in the constituency. And when I have $100,000 to spend, I cut it into 10 contracts. So a lot of big contractors may not be very happy with me. In fact, one time a contractor told me in my constituency, "Boug mwen te ni ka travay ban a Brézan ou fe yo contractor, so masa mem hen yo pou travay ban." And you know what my response to him was? So you think it's you alone that have to be a contractor? Now, I know everybody cannot be a contractor, but you have to try and build up the capacity of the people that you represent. So the Labour Party is going around and trying to capitalize on the poor, and now the new mandate is putting the people first. We have always put the people first. It's not after 25 years. It's my 15th year. You think is now I will come and tell the people I want to put you first? From the day I was elected, I have been putting the people first. I have been doing things for the constituency. I have been there for the people. Most people tell me there's not been a bad weather event in my constituency. And I'm at my home sleeping in comfort and leave the people stranded in the constituency.
That will not happen.
I have been there. And that is why I appreciate the level of support that I get from my wife, from my family. My family has come under a lot of criticism. But they are strong and they have been determined. And I know they are good people with a loving heart.
Yes, sir.
Who would continue to do things whenever I have things to do. There are people, most of what I do is not because of myself. It's because of the people around me who help me to be able to do the things. And I want to assure Castries Southeast and St. Lucia, don't be fooled by those who just promise. Look at what they have delivered. Look at what they have done in the past. And if you are satisfied, then support them.
I agree with that.
But do not take their words to mean as much as because they will tell you everything today. But tomorrow, I have a track record. I have not done everything I need to do, but we are on track to accomplishing a lot of the things that we want to do. If you feel somebody can do it better, then the choice is yours when the election is called. But I believe, as one of the messages that we received and one of the callers indicated, Prime Minister Alan Chasney is God's man for this time for leading St.
Oh,
Lucia.
yes, without a doubt.
And in this COVID environment, and COVID, the impact of COVID will be felt for a few years to come. We need to remain focused. We need to remain resolute. And I want to appeal to all United Workers' Party supporters. You can listen to what the Labour Party have to say, but do not allow them to fool you into believing that they can do better.
No.
They've had 3 chances from 1997 at governance, and they have failed on every occasion. And don't forget, in 1997, they won 16-1. And they had to call an election before time.
Can you believe it?
In 2001, because they were so afraid of losing. How you could win 16-1 and then you were afraid of... You so scared you call election before its time. They won again in 2011. And they called election 6 months before that time because they were afraid. What is it they're afraid of? If you are doing what you promised the people to do, you have nothing to be afraid of. So let us remain focused, let us remain resolute, and let us not be fooled by people who make promises that they cannot keep. Let us stay with the party that has a proven track record of workers, the United Workers' Party.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Good night. Until next Monday, God's will.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Minister, for once again bringing out all of the information to our beautiful St. Lucia. And St. Lucians, you heard it for yourself. Next Monday evening, God's willing, in studio to bring you the facts, not what he thinks, what is there in those books. And we challenge them. I'm with him now. We challenge them to bring out their facts and their documents and their reports on the $3 million that they spent to investigate the minister. Bring it out and let St. Lucia see it for themselves. Until next Monday evening, St. Lucia, we want to say a special good evening to you. You do have a good night's rest. Always remember to say thanks to the great God above. We will be going into the BBC tomorrow morning. I'm going to be back here with the program Champagne in the Morning, where you call us at all time of the day, and we will have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful program. Tomorrow evening, the Blockbuster program comes right back, keeping it real. Yes, sir, with Mr. Norbert Williams, keeping it real tomorrow evening from 8:30 on Channel 11 Hot 7 TV, right here, simulcast right here on Sky FM. I will be in studio to bring it to you right here on Sky FM. So until tomorrow morning, St. Lucia, you do have a great evening. We love you. From Sky FM, we are one family. Have a good evening. Oh boy.